Alright, so I work in a grocery store, correct? Yes, correct. So, and usually in grocery stores, I'm King George 6 tonight, bitch. So I work in a grocery store, and sometimes people go on breaks, as you do. And, motherfucker, no, right now he's not a motherfucker. So he asks if someone can help him. I'm like, okay, cool. It's just like he wants to know the price of something. Wrong. He wanted a cake. And me being the good Samaritan, I was like, okay, well, I could probably just get you the cake because it's just picking up a cake, putting it in a box, and giving it to him. So I did that. First mistake was helping him. So then he goes, pays for it, and then he... Okay, shut up. I don't need to hear you, Mario, right now. Goes to the cash, pays for it. Now you'd think he's fine. No. Apparently I put the wrong price on. Fine, whatever. I made a mistake. So we give it to him for the right price. We refund the price I gave him, and we give it to him for the correct price. Then he's like, you know what? I don't even want it anymore. And we're like, why? He's like, well, it wasn't given to me for the right price. And we're like, well, we fixed it for you like 2 seconds ago when you paid for it the second time. So then we refund it, and we're like, okay, cool. We're cool. So when you refund it, you need to get their signature just so that our store doesn't think we're just refunding people random shit. So he then refuses to give his signature and says he doesn't want to give us any of his information. I'm like, I mean, fair, but like, you're being a little bit rash about this. Like, calm down, dude. It's just $1 that... So, yeah, so the price I gave him the cake was $22.99. And then the correct price was $21.99. I don't work at Sears, no. Yeah, I don't work at Sears. So he was making this huge fuss over $1. So we're like, cool. So then after we refund it the second time, after we refund the $21.99, the correct price, he's like, so I'm holding the cake in my hands, like kind of like this, but on the counter, and he just kind of like takes it out of my hands, not like aggressively or anything. He just kind of takes it. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? And he rips it open because we tape it closed. He rips it open, and he starts looking at the cake. So I'm like, I ask him like, what are you doing? You already refunded the cake. Why are you checking it? And then he comes at me like, whoa, sir, why are you coming at me like accusing me of things? I'm like, I'm not accusing you of shit. I'm just asking you a question. Like, why are you checking the cake you don't want? I do as cashier. What store you work at and what is your job? Well, today I was carts boy, but I'm usually like a cashier or a supervisor. I won't tell you where I work though because I don't want to get in trouble. So then he like comes at me with that. I'm like, dude, I'm just asking you a question. Calm down. And I was getting a little bit annoyed at him. So there's that. What is this? Shit. So then, like, then he asks what's in the cake, and I'm like, well, I don't know the exact ingredients, but the person. Oh yeah, I forgot the most important part of the information. So the bakery, the reason I was doing the cake thing was because the bakery person was on break. I think I said that. Yeah, I did. Anyways, so we're allowed to have breaks. So, guy asks for the ingredients. I'm like, I don't know any of the ingredients, like, off the top of my head. I don't know where the list of the ingredients are. So, then I say, then I say, if you want to wait for the bakery person who's on break and it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes, that man is a bitch. I know. He was just mad for no good reason. "Aw, you're too nice. They don't deserve you. They're..." No, I was being kind of a dick, a little bit. I was being like the slightest amount of an asshole, okay? But like, he was just being so stupid. He was not being aggressive, but he was just not cooperating. So then I would ask him, like, were you looking for any specific ingredients that you don't want in the cake? And then he was just looking on his phone like this, looking at whatever he was looking at, and just like, instead of answering me, I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I guess you can just die of whatever you're allergic to, you stupid bitch. Whatever, take the cake and die, whatever. And then, like, I don't know why this came up, but then he's like, I have my kid in the car, he's crying, and my wife and my sister are in the car, and I'm like, okay, well then leave. You've gotten your refund, just go somewhere else to get your cake. Like, you're clearly not wanting to get a cake from here. So then, Bakery Girl finally comes up back from break. I'll rant about her in a second. She finally comes back, and then he says, he wants something written on the cake, because I guess it was his kid's birthday. Fine, he could have just said that originally. But yeah, so then apparently the cake that he wanted wasn't a cake that you can actually write on, because there's no room on the top of the cake. But she was like, fine, I'll write on the cake. It might not look nice, but it'll have what you want on it. So she takes the cake back to where the bakery is. She asks him, what do you want written on the cake? And then he just ignores her, which is great. So then she grabs a piece of paper and a pen and goes, you know what? You write it down. Because he just didn't cooperate at all, because he's just being a fucking pansy about it. So then he writes his shit. Apparently he didn't know how to read English. So, sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth. So let's go back to the cash. So bakery lady brings the list of the ingredients. Okay, that's what happened first. Brings the list of the ingredients back to the front, and our store has a policy of we can't read the ingredients to the customer, because if we don't read an ingredient, like if we miss one, we can get sued or whatever. So she's like, I can't read this, you'll have to read it yourself. And he's like, I can't read English. So clearly he's bullshitting. So then we go back to where he's writing down the thing in English. Sorry, this is gonna get to Mario in just a second. He writes down the thing in English, by the way. And then, so she writes it on the cake. So she writes it at the top and at the bottom. And then shows it to the man. And the man's like, I wanted it all the way around the cake. To which she said, well, why didn't you say that before I started writing the shit on the fucking cake? Without all the swear words, of course, because customer service. Sorry, I'm winded. I'm winded, brother! So then, she now has to take this cake that she's written on. It's ruined now. You should be a story time channel? I don't have many stories. She then takes the cake that's now ruined. She can't sell it now because she's written shit that he wants on the cake and does what he wants. He goes, finally buys the cake, and asks the manager, because by this time we've called the manager, and asks, what's your return policy? And she was with me this whole time. What's your return policy? And she's like, well, now that you've put in your shit on the cake, there is no return policy. It's your cake now. You've bought it. It is now yours. You can literally, I don't care what you do with the cake, you cannot return it now. Like, she was being super sassy about it. But yeah, like, we can't resell the fucking cake. Like, you stupid bitch. Ugh, okay.